Okay, I'm Psychobolic, and let's get this over with. We're going to start off with Sword Art Online Alternative Gun Gale Online, which is a really long and unnecessary name. Basically, it's about this really tall girl who plays a short, tiny pink psycho bunny girl in Gun Gale Online, the gun game from the Sword Art Online series, as seen in Season 2, which was actually my favorite arc. Go watch that video. You can find it. I did a what I watched this week about it. It was really good. Probably will, unless something comes up, make it on my top anime of 2018 list that I'll do next year. The fights were exciting, the characters were likable, and the comedy was funny. From start to finish, I thoroughly enjoyed the Sword Art Online alternative. Especially the final fight of it, which was so good, I actually stopped what I was doing just to put my entire attention into it, got myself a bag of popcorn, just chilled out, just watched the last 2 episodes, and I actually re-watched the last 2 episodes. It was pretty fucking hype. I'll give you a slight spoiler warning. The reason I'm drawing this sentence out is so you know that you should probably skip ahead a solid 30 seconds so you don't miss it. Alright, Len cuts off her hands and then bites Pito's throat out. That was your spoiler. Fucking most metal goddamn thing ever. Anyway, the reason I'm breezing by this is because I really want to talk about the second thing I watched this week. Megalo Box. Now, Megalo Box was really popular. I would say it was probably the spring season darling. Everybody was talking about it all over YouTube. All the anime YouTubers talked about that. And the reason I want to talk about it so badly is because I thought it was okay. And that was it. And it really got me thinking about what seasonal anime really does. Is that, especially for like anime YouTubers, YouTubers in general that have to keep making videos talking about anime as it comes out, they have to stay up to date with the current discussions, which means they have to talk about the anime that are currently airing. And I feel like that's the main reason Megalo Box got so much coverage, is other than the fact that they purposely ran it at a shitty resolution, Megalo Box doesn't really do anything particularly interesting. At least I didn't see anything that really stuck out to me. And you could say, oh, Sag, you're just not paying attention to it. You never do. You didn't get it. And, it's true. I wasn't paying attention to it. Let's be honest. But I feel like I feel like any medium should demand your attention. And case in point, when I just a minute ago, I was talking about how I actually stopped what I was doing just to put all of my attention into the final fight of Sword Art Online. But in Megalo Box, I could barely pay any attention to what was happening at all. It did not demand any of my attention. I didn't like... It's like a complete 180. And that's probably such a great thing that these two shows ran opposite of each other in this week's schedule, is I didn't care about any of the characters. I don't think I even know anything about these characters. He was like one flashback with him. It was just walking down a street and the old guy's like, you want a Megalo Box? And he's like, no. And the old guy's like, hey, you want a Megalo Box. And I think that's all we get out of him. And if there was more, I certainly don't remember it, and I probably should. So that just goes to speak about how little I gave a fuck about anything that was happening. In fact, the whole plot is Joe wants to fight Yuri, and then at the end, Joe fights Yuri. And none of the fights really stand out, I mean, you know what? There was one thing that was really good about Megalo Box was the soundtrack. Specifically that one song. That song. I think it was... they play it all the time. The one in, the trailer, I think. But yeah, none of that really stood out. I don't care about any of the characters. I didn't care whether Joe fought Yuri again because I didn't think his first fight against Yuri was that great. I certainly didn't think his second fight against Yuri was that great. And even though they tell you who wins at the end, I didn't give a fuck who won at the end. I don't care about anything that is happening to these characters. And I don't feel like I'm ever given a reason to, other than Joe's the underdog. But it's like, Joe's... like, it's what the audience kind of says, you know? Joe is making a mockery of the sport. Like, it's fucking robot boxing, and he's refusing to fight like a robot. I just don't give a fuck. And the one thing I really did care about was like, I wanted to know if like the bitchy corporate chick was going to end up with Yuri at the end, and then she doesn't. And so I didn't even get that satisfaction out of that. It had its good moments and it had its bad moments, but it was so middle of the road the whole time, and it got so much traction and so many people talked about it that's why I felt the need to talk about it right here. Is I don't think Megalo Box was worth talking about. And I know it seems contradictory that I'm willing to talk so much about it right here, saying how little it was worth talking about. But what I'm actually saying is that it was so not worth talking about that I need to talk about the talk about it and not necessarily it. And people, I feel like, because they have to stay relevant, they talk about whatever's on and whatever's doing the best at the moment. And I don't think that's a good thing necessarily. I think that trying to stay relevant to currently airing anime actually holds you back, because it means that as a creator, so many anime YouTubers just spout about so much inane, stupid bullshit about series no one is ever gonna fucking remember. And that's another part of it, you know? Everyone's saying classic anime are dead, even like wildly popular anime are forgotten by the next season, and I don't think that's a good thing. And people are like, oh, the way you can do it is you can go back and you can watch old anime, but nobody really says anything about old anime, do they? I mean, they'll make one video about an old anime, it's like, hey, you should watch Gundam. You know, but then they'll make like 5 fucking videos about the middle of the road bullshit that's coming out. And if they are willing to just call it on what it is, you know, and just say, this is just a middle of the road show, I thought it was pretty decent, go for it, that's okay. But they're always so fucking hyperbolic. They're always like, this is the anime of the season. If you're not watching it, you're out of the loop. Or you're like, this is garbage. This is the worst garbage since last season's garbage. It's like, can't anything just be okay? You know? Because that's really what anime is to me at this point, is a lot of it's just okay. And that's why I wanted to talk about Megalo Box so much. Is because despite all the coverage about people saying Megalo Box is the fucking hit of the season, this is anime of the year. Oh my god, Megalo Box blew me away. I loved it already. Megalo Box was just okay.